Good day, everyone, at whatever time you are watching this. I felt inspired to jump on here this morning, my time on the East Coast, to share a message that's been on my heart in terms of resentment and how it literally keeps us playing out the past in the present moment over and over and over again if we hold on to that resentment and carry it with us into the eternal, ever present moment. I'll get more into that in a second. If you're new to me, hello, my given name is Timothy. As you can see down in the corner, I also have a nickname that I go by, which is Bo, so I have both down there. I'm a life transformation guide, and I am a conscious channel who brings forth the wisdom and intelligence of my own soul or higher self. And that's how I learn my life lessons as a soul who is having a human experience. And, my soul is what helps me process and learn these life lessons so that I can liberate myself into having new and fresh experiences in my life so I don't keep playing out the same situations over and over and over again, kind of like Groundhog Day, and ultimately just have better, more meaningful relationships. I feel like as human beings, there's a craving and a desire to have healthy, nurturing, thriving relationships. I mean, we thrive on that as children, having a healthy relationship. So of course, I feel that we also desire that as grown up human beings. And there's things that we have allowed ourselves to get in the way of having these healthy relationships. And one of them is resentment. And I've learned quite a bit about that myself. I would say, especially in the past month, because sometimes we can have blinders on about these things. They are kind of unconscious to us for a while until we finally can see the pattern and then it becomes conscious to us. I just want to say hello to whoever is watching live. Thank you for being here. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, just know that you can leave a comment. I do these lives because I enjoy interaction. The only reason I share things like this is because I love uh, deep, meaningful, heartfelt conversation. So if you're here and you want to say hi, feel free. You don't have to. But also, if you have a question or a reflection, you can leave that in the comments as well. I have my little comment chat box open. So just know that's an option. And so getting back to resentment, because if you have been a seeker, a spiritual seeker, if you have a path of faith or you're just on a spiritual path of one sort or the other, ultimately I feel that you want to have a better, more meaningful life, a more enjoyable life. And you also most likely have a desire to be, the best person that you can be, in the sense that you're just, you're warm, you're loving, you light up a room, you you spread good positive things in the world. That's what I mean by, you know, um, a better person, because these things, better person can have a lot of meanings. So I wanted to give some context to what I mean here. So if you're on a spiritual path of some sort, I have a feeling that's probably important to you. And so, what are the things that are in the way of that? Well, that's why we're having a human experience, if you ask me. Our soul is guiding us to let go of all of these things that we've learned along the way, because we've been in a society that, in a lot of ways, has taught us to abandon our spiritual nature, abandon our connection to who we are as souls. And it is what it is. It's happened, through Western culture and society, we've just learned to kind of abandon our true nature, our soul nature in a lot of ways. Because, society has developed itself, a lot of societies, not, I won't say all of them because I have not experienced all of them. I'll say in Western culture, though, it's really developed itself in a state of fear, a state of disconnect from creation, from earth, from nature. So society has developed itself in a way where it really acts and lives, invites us to live out our day to day life in a state of disconnection and fear, and therefore a lack of trust, of creation, of nature, of the divine. And so a lot of us have had that societal upbringing, that culturing, and a lot of us have gotten to a point where like, there's a lot missing. There's a lot missing from that approach. And I want to there's just more. I know there's more, and I want to be the best that I can be. I want to be my brightest light. I want to have a connection with the rest of life, with the rest of the universe, with the earth, with creation. And I want to be, a bright, shining light. I want to be someone who is uplifting and positive. And so as we go on that path, it's like, what's in the way? What's in the way? So today, I'm going to speak about resentment and what I've learned about resentment and how that can be in the way, so to say, of us really becoming all that we know that we can be, because our soul self is not resentful. Our soul self knows better. Our soul self sees people and why they are the way they are. It sees people often as, just being wounded in some way. They're operating from emotional wounding. It's unconscious behavior. Maybe they're operating in fear. Maybe they're operating from a place of deep hurt. So our soul sees that and knows that and really doesn't take it personal because our soul just sees these human experiences from a higher perspective. It doesn't get entangled in the drama and the hurt and the chaos, so to say, like our ego, our ego mind does, our personality self mind does. And so while that may sound very easy just to, take the soul approach to it, which does feel better in my experience, there is the whole human mind personality self that probably has gotten involved in the past and, may get involved again because the the spiritual journey sometimes can have some back and forth between the soul and the personality self. Uh, it's a part of the process. It's a part of the game. And so, getting to the title, how resentment keeps us playing out the past and the present moment. So, resentment has a lot to do with judgment, if you ask me, and it can also have a lot to do with hurt. Um, when someone has done something in the past that we feel very hurt by, whether it was something they said or behavior, you know, it can have the effect where we feel very hurt by it. For this example, I'll just go with maybe something very hurtful that was said. And so, again, looking at it from the soul perspective, that person themselves that said the hurtful thing is most likely operating from hurt themselves or emotional wounding, some kind of behavior they may not even be conscious to yet. That's why we hear the phrase that hurt people, because a lot of times the hurt people are still very unconscious to their wounding, and the fact that their wounding is driving their behavior. And um, I'm not saying that like gives them like a free for all. It's just that they don't really even know the energy that they're coming from. They don't even see that their hurt is causing them to project more hurt out into the world, at least in a lot of cases, I would say. So, whatever they said, it may have hurt us because it may have touched a place in us that still has a deep insecurity about ourselves, that still has, that still is a very wounded place in our own self. And whatever they said may have touched that place. It basically highlighted something within our own makeup, our own, you know, self that we have not brought healing to, we've not brought restoration to. And so, because they touch that place within us with their words, now that place has become very activated within us. It's kind of like the wound has been reopened in a sense. And when the wound is reopened, you might imagine that can feel very painful. And so that may be why it hurts so much when they said that thing that they said. They re they caused us to revisit a wound that has never really been fully addressed or healed. And so now we're feeling the hurt of that wound. From the higher like soul perspective, it's actually an opportunity. The fact that that's been highlighted within us is actually an opportunity to see that place and to recognize, oh, wow, I'm still really hurting in this way. I still have a deep insecurity, a deep wound about myself in one way or the other. So, from the soul perspective, they actually have invited us to see something within ourselves. It doesn't make the words they said any nicer. However, it does a lot of the time give us an opportunity to see something within ourselves. And then it's up to us what we do with that. For me, what I've learned to do is to see it as an opportunity. Oh, wow, something has been highlighted for me to address. And it's always going to be situational, and it's always going to be intuition, and for me, soul driven, how I address the behavior or don't address it, because sometimes it's just, better for me just to walk away and move on. To me, it's always going to be situational on how to deal, with the hurtful behavior. And I'm not going to really get into that right now because that's like a whole other conversation. I'll just say for me, it's always intuition and soul led. Like I go deep within and ask, what do I want to do about, this thing that happened today? And I go deep within and ask my soul self how to deal with it. And I look for that answer because I always want to take the higher path. That's my aim in life. But again, that's another conversation. What I want to get into now is what we do with the, let's say the hurt that has been now exposed for us. If we take the approach of like, how dare they? I can't believe what they said. That's so mean. That's so nasty. And now we basically have judgment against them. We have anger against them. We develop resentment against them. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. It's just these are just options. If we develop that approach towards them, the resentment, and we hold that first and foremost, it really does hurt us the most because that pent up anger and resentment actually is an energy that we're holding typically around our heart, the most important organ, you could say, of our entire body. Uh, Anger and resentment tends to live, I would say, in a big way in the heart. And so if we're holding that first and foremost, it really hurts us the most, I would offer. Then, depending on this other person that this happened with, maybe there is a conversation down the road where they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. That was really hurtful, blah, blah, blah. However, if we choose to be like, well, I'm never going to forget that thing that they said or that thing that they did, and we hold that against them, and every time we see them, if this is an ongoing relationship where we do decide to see them again or in an ongoing way, if we're always holding on to that past event, that resentment, to me, we're actually activating that energy. It could be every time we think about them, every time we see them, every time we have a conversation, a text message, that resentment can be active every time we have an interaction. And again, that's a very dense, restrictive energy that, again, tends to be within our heart. And I'll just say again, it hurts us the most. Energetically speaking, vibrationally speaking, it hurts us the most. And now we're not really in the present moment either. We're basically taking an event from the past and we're almost like copy pasting it over all of our interactions in the present. So we can't be really truly present. We can't even see someone with fresh eyes if we're still carrying that hurt from the past. We can't even really interact authentically in the present moment, as because the present moment is always a clean slate. It's always new, it's always fresh. That person's new in the moment. We ourselves are new in the moment. And so if we come into the freshness of the present moment and we are carrying that resentment, then we're basically still, even though technically we have the opportunity to be new in the present moment, we are still showing up as that hurt person back when that event occurred. We basically take that hurt person and we carry that hurt person with us into all of our future interactions. So we technically aren't allowing ourselves to be new, to be fresh, as the present moment always invites us to be, because we have decided to be that hurt person over and over and over again. And if it was something that let's say there was a conversation about where like the air was cleaned, so to say, cleared out, so to say, but yet we still hold on to it secretly in our heart, that resentment of, oh, I'll never forget that, or oh, I'll never forgive you. Again, that can be felt by the other person too. Like they most likely are sensing like something's off in our interactions, like they're not fully here, they're not fully present. Like when we're holding back our authentic self, our ability to be fresh and clean in the moment, like that can be picked up by others, even if it's just them saying, wow, something's off here. Like they're not really here with me. They're kind of holding back. They kind of feels like they're holding something against me. So it can be felt, even if it's just like something's off here. It can be that simple. And so again, this teaching, this offering is for those who really do want to be fresh and clean in the present moment. And I know the situation that I'm bringing up here is kind of vague, but this is it's just for the sake of this being a teaching, an example. And again, I'll invite that all situations are situational. And so I myself, again, I'm always tuning into my intuition in the moment, feeling what the best thing is to say or not say, feeling whether, the interaction even feels healthy and if I want to walk away, all those types of things. I'm always checking in with my intuition in the moment so I can take that higher path, because again, that is my aim. And this is what I've seen for me, that I truly do want to be that fresh person in the moment. I don't want to be showing up in my relationships still holding on to past hurt, especially if they're relationships that I'm saying, yeah, I still want to have this relationship. I still want to engage with this person. I personally don't want to be showing up with that hurt every time I see them, every time I interact with them. And again, I know it all sounds easy in theory. I will say for me, it's taken and continues to take a lot of practice, because some of these things can go back a long time. They can go back to childhood, and it could be like a wound that we've actually been unconsciously holding since childhood for sometimes decades. And so, in that sense, I'll say it can take practice. It can definitely take practice to let go in the present moment, to decide that I don't want to be that hurt person over and over and over again. I don't want to be that person that holds back because I'm holding on to that hurt over and over and over again in the present moment. For me, from the soul level and perspective, it's become increasingly important for me to want to be that fresh person in the moment, who's not holding back, who's not projecting that past hurt over the person that I'm technically seeing brand new in the moment. Because, they've changed too. Like I've changed, they've changed. The moment is brand new, the present moment is always brand new. And I don't want to be that person who is copying and pasting the hurt from the past into the present moment again, over and over and over again. And it's a practice. It really is to sometimes feel the hurt that I've been holding on to. And then in the moment, just sense that hurt and say, like, I'm going to let go. I'm going to be brand new in this moment. I'm going to be friendly. I'm going to be bright. I'm going to be fresh. I'm going to be kind. Because if we're holding on to a lot of hurt, sometimes it's even hard to be kind. Um, it's not saying that we're being mean, but if we're feeling really hurt in the present moment from something in the past, we may not be as kind as we could be. uh, I've noticed that in my own experience. And so again, it's a practice. For me, it's been a practice. It continues to be, because the way that we work as human beings is that we typically operate from patterns of behavior. And so if the pattern of behavior has been holding back from that hurt over and over and over again, that's why I'm saying it can take practice to practice being the person that lets go of the hurt and becomes brand new in the moment, that becomes fresh and bright in the moment until that becomes the new pattern. These old patterns can have a lot of momentum. They're very habitual, they're very comfortable. And so to break out of them, it is becoming new. To break out of holding back from past hurt, it is becoming new. And every time I make that choice, it becomes easier. It becomes easier for me to go, oh, I want to be fresh and bright and new in this moment. I want to be brand new in this moment. I want to be that open, loving, kind, friendly person who's not holding back from the hurt, from the hurt that I keep carrying with me from the past. So I hope that makes sense. The last thing that I'll offer on this is that if you're aware of how important our vibration is in the present moment, because our vibration is always doing something in the present moment, to me, I feel that resentment is a big thing that holds us down, that keeps our vibration way down to a certain, you know, level, let's say, in the middle, where we could be flying high. That resentment will really bring us down to maybe, the middle, or maybe a really like a low feeling space. That's not wrong. It's just that, is that what we desire? Is it our preference to allow the resentment to weigh us down so heavily in the present moment? Because that's why our behavior becomes so restrictive and held back. That's why I'm saying that we might not be as friendly or kind or loving as we could be, because that resentment is bringing our vibration way down in the present moment. And so, again, that's not right or wrong. It's just that, is that what we want to choose? Is that our preference? For me, it's not my preference. I don't want to be weighing myself down in the present moment. I want to be relaxed. I want to be open. I want to be bright and cheery and free. And so I personally don't want to let the, resentment be something that's weighing me down heavily in the present moment. uh, so I wanted to make a note and a reference about that as well. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you to whoever has watched live. I really appreciate it. If you're on the replay and you want to leave any comments or questions, please feel free. Again, I really enjoy interaction around these topics. And yeah, if you have had value from watching, please feel free to share it if you'd like. It's really easy to share this message with the buttons below the post. So thank you again so much for watching. If you want to learn more about me, I've listed my website in the description of this video, so you can find my website at the bottom of the description. So thanks again for watching. I'll most likely be doing more of these over the next couple weeks. Eventually, what I want to get to do is um, live teachings, like on something like Zoom, so I can have more personal interaction. I do know that typically it takes a little bit of time to create some exposure about what I'm doing and, just get the word out and, be really visible. So eventually what I'd like to do is some live teachings on Zoom where I can interact with people, on video if they so choose. More like has more of the in-person feel, if you will. For the meantime, I'll probably do some of these just to get people used to this being something that I do and I offer. So yeah, so look out for more. If I choose a specific time that I'll do this, like each week, then I'll make a note of that. I'll probably like post it somewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to start today, jump on here and share. And thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Much love.